In this video I'm going to show you how I made the Cafe Del Rio end grain cutting board. This is more of a how I did it video rather than a how-to video. I'm still learning how to do these, so if you see anything that I've done wrong, just keep it to yourself. Don't comment on it. I'm still learning. So let's get started. I always like to start with a set of plans, so here those are. The wood's already been cut into strips and then matched sap to sap and ring to ring wood. So now all I have to do is take it over to the table saw and cut them into 3/4 inch strips and 1 3/4 inch strips, which make up for the face of the cutting board itself. These are the 3/4 inch strips. These are the 1 3/4 inch strips I'm going to use for the main part of the cutting board. These are the strips. The red ones are the ones for the outer border. This is for the inner part of the board. And for the glue up, I only like to use Titebond 3, which is a food safe glue. Okay, this is the board, the baseboard itself, and I'm chipping off the glue, the excess glue. Now I'm going to cut it to keep it square, get rid of these end pieces, and then make sure it's square. Looks good. Okay, now I'm going to glue the ends on. Now each time I glue anything, it takes 24 hours for it to dry, so yeah, as you can imagine, this is a long process. It takes days to make one of these. Many days. Okay, next day, it's all dry. I chip away the excess glue. Cut off those two little ends right there. And take it to the belt sander. I'm going to sand off the edges. Just what I'm doing here is just sanding the glue off, and then I put it onto the drum sander. Again, sand the face and the back of the board till all the glue is gone. This is the CNC. It's just cutting out the male parts of the inlay. There's going to be 3 different colors of inlay. It's a long process. I didn't want to have to show you all that. Here's the finished product. So now I'm going to take it over to the bandsaw and cut out those letters. so I can get them prepared to be put into the board. Okay, now I'm going to fit the pieces into the board so that they don't touch each other. I can't have them touch each other when I squish them into the board, so make sure they all fit. And these all, notice nothing's touching one another. They all fit in there perfectly, so it's time to glue it up. Once I get the glue in all the pockets, then I will put all the pieces in there and take it over to the press, and I will press those parts into the board with 9 tons of pressure, 18,000 pounds, 9 tons, and that really pushes it into the wood. Once it dries, next day I use a bandsaw and I cut off all the excess pieces. And I use a drum sander and go, over and over. It takes quite a few passes, but the idea is to sand off all the inlay so that it's flush with the board. Just like that. And I hand sand it. Get it real smooth. A lot of hand sanding. Front and back. This is a little jig I use to mark the corner radius, 1/2 inch radius on the corners, and I mark where the feet go. And I can punch the areas where the feet are for later. And on the belt sander, I round the corners based on the marks that I made. Hand sand them so they're nice and smooth. This machine is called a shaper. I use it strictly for cutting handles on the cutting boards, like that. It has a lot of uses, but I only use it for handles. This is where I made a mistake. I tried to make a bevel on the front of the board, and it made it way too sharp, so I have to hand sand it now. And I'm going to hand sand a nice round over. So from now on, I'm going to try using a round over blade. It should make a perfect round edge. I'll know on the next board if that's true. Yeah, I'm going to apply some oil. Let that soak in, and then more oil. Several coats of oil, front and back, and let that soak in overnight. The oil protects the board, so when you use it for cutting food. Here's the feet, little rubber feet, stainless steel screws. And then my little plaque. The plaque is made of plastic and the screws are stainless steel, so nothing can rust. Buff it all out. Okay, now we're going to make the gift box. Now, the reason I make a gift box is because I think this is, if I ever start selling these, this is a very high-end gift. And it, like a nice wine or a box of cigars, you know, it's expensive. If I start selling this is not a Walmart cutting board. This is going to be expensive. So I think it should be in a nice package. And this isn't just a crate. This is going to be a box with a hinge, and it's going to be engraved. So it can be used either to store the board in or used as a gift box, you know, or as a box, you know, for putting trinkets in. All right, I use I'm going to stain the box now, so I use a pre-stain because this is just plywood and cedar fence board. So you have to pre-stain it so that the stain actually doesn't splotch. So now I put the stain on. In this case, I'm using a walnut. And then I'm going to put a nice coat of clear. After the stain dries, I take it into the spray booth and I spray it with a nice coat of clear. Once the clear dries, then I'm going to put a masking tape on it. And then I'm going to take it to the laser and I'm going to engrave it. Okay, here it is engraved. And the tape's on it and the engrave's done. So what I'll do is I'll spray it with a brown paint. It kind of gives it more of a burnt wood look. And once that's dried, I'll remove the tape. Okay, now I'm going to cut it so that it has a lid and a base. Like that. And then I'm going to tape the sides so it doesn't move when I measure and install the hinges and the latch on the front. Okay, and there's the box. Okay, let's finish this thing up. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink wrap it. This will keep the board protected from humidity in case the recipient doesn't open it right away. The oil will stay and the board won't dry up or anything. It'll just kind of preserves it. I include a plastic cutting board. It's for cross-contamination. I don't want you cutting raw meat on the board and then vegetables. So it's kind of a way to keep the nasty stuff like meat juices from soaking into the wood. And then the instructions on how to take care of the board. Little divider goes in. And then I include a little bottle of oil, same oil that I used to prep the board with, and an application rag. Put in some shipping foam so it doesn't move around. And that's it. It's all done. Ready for Brian at Cafe Del Rio. Hope he likes it. So that's all. Thanks for watching.